Chapter 4. The Midnight Watch. The interior of the White Tower at night was a forest of shadows. Rows of empty suits of armor stood like ghostly sentinels along the walls, their polished visors reflecting the tiny sliver of moonlight that managed to pierce the narrow arrow slits. Nancy's footsteps were barely a whisper on the cold stone. She climbed the stairs to the second floor, her ears straining for any sound that didn't belong. For 2 hours, she sat motionless behind a display of 16th century halberds. The air was chilly, smelling of old iron and damp masonry. Then, at exactly 11:45, she smelled it. It was faint, but unmistakable. The scent of yeast and warm dough, just as Sergeant Miller had described. It was a cozy domestic smell that felt entirely out of place in a medieval fortress. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught her eye. High up near the ceiling, where the heavy wooden rafters met the stone walls, a pale, bluish glow appeared. It wasn't a steady light. It danced and wavered, casting long, distorted shadows across the floor. Nancy stood up, her heart racing. The light wasn't coming from a ghost. It was being reflected. Someone was up in the gallery, using a light source that was carefully shielded. She began to climb the narrow wooden stairs toward the upper gallery, her hand trailing along the rough stone. Halfway up, she heard a sound that made her freeze. It wasn't a moan or a ghostly wail. It was a sneeze. A small, muffled, very human sneeze. Nancy reached the top of the stairs and clicked on her torch, sweeping the beam across the dusty wooden floorboards. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice echoing through the chamber. "I know you're hiding. I'm not here to hurt you." The blue light vanished instantly. In the sudden darkness, Nancy heard the frantic scuffle of feet and the clatter of something falling, something that sounded suspiciously like a tin plate.